Ty, like we sort of touched on you having a blossoming start to your career in engineering.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how you eventually made it to Atlanta and just how you continue to climb that ladder and family life was booming, living the American dream, the whole nine.
Yeah. If I go back, like I stated earlier, after I got out of Tennessee State, I started working as an engineer for Rolls-Royce. And with Rolls-Royce, now what they do is they make aircraft engines, not the cars where I was at. So I was actually an aerospace engineer. And while I was there at Rolls-Royce early in my career, I got thrust into a position of leadership because of some reorganization and restructuring. So maybe after my first year as an engineer, as a design engineer, I had a small team of 5 other engineers who had been there for a while, but we had certain objectives that we needed to meet. And as I was going through this process, I was identified as what they call an ECHIP, early career potential engineer there. And they had a plan for me. And they left me in that design role for about 2.5 years, but they said we needed to move you around the company because we think you're going to be a future leader here. You have the demeanor, you have the approach, the mindset that we're looking for in order to develop you and allow your career to grow further. I got nominated for a Black Engineer of the Year award early on with the design that I made for some vanes for an engine that was a major cost reduction and really cut down some of the expenses that the company had. So it's making them money or saving them some money. But there was a lot that was going on during that time. While I was at Rolls-Royce, I went back to grad school and got my MBA. And that's where I first got some exposure to being closer to where the money is made. Because even though as an engineer, we're doing some cool things, but it's going to be always somebody from a business perspective that is going to control how much money is spent towards doing those cool things. So I realized that was going to be some skills that I needed to pick up and some understanding. So I went back to the University of Indianapolis while I was up in Indiana working that job. After about 7 years, I had started moving up in the company even more. And however, at the time, my former wife, Malika, she and we were at a crossroads in the sense that she was from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I was from Alabama. We had been in Indiana for about 8 years, and we realized how cold it was up there. And not just that, we had a son a couple years before and realized that we needed to get him back closer to family. And we were starting to miss some of the things of the South that we had gotten accustomed to and thought it would be time to make a move and change things. So even though things were good in Indiana, it was just way too cold, and that brought the demeanor down as far as what we wanted to do. So about, I think it was 2009, started looking for other opportunities and moved down here to Atlanta. I got a job as a manager at an engineering company here and did that for a period of time. And I kept working in engineering roles with a couple of different companies here. And while I was here, I went back and got a master's degree in systems engineering. So I was continuing to educate or take opportunities of education while trying to grow my career as an engineer. So everything was going well. My wife at the time, she had moved into from being a teacher to being a higher education administrator to actually going into recruiting to actually going into HR, focusing on diversity and inclusion. So we were both moving up the ladder as far as our careers were concerned.